Meet the most beautiful creature of the...
We all know Sydney Sweeney is stepping into the role of Barbarella, but what about Pygar? Well, according to some insiders, Paul Mescal might be in the running to play him. But that's not all. Aside from Sweeney, everyone's also curious about the great Tyrant. Who will take on that iconic role? That part is still a mystery. But don't worry, we've got our insider info, so let's dive into everything we know about the remake of this sci-fi cult classic. Sydney Sweeney has already proven she can crush it in any genre, whether it's the intense drama of Euphoria, the chilling horror of Immaculate, the rom-com fun of Anyone But You, or the sharp humor of The White Lotus. She's easily one of the most versatile actors in Hollywood right now. Recently, she dipped her toes into sci-fi with Madame Web. Now Barbarella could be the perfect next move for her. If Barbarella ends up being a hit, Sweeney might just become sci-fi's next big star, and let's be real, she already looks the part. The original Barbarella, released in 1968, may not have been a massive box office success, but it left a lasting impact on sci-fi cinema. Based on the French comic series, the film follows Barbarella as she's sent on a mission to find a scientist with a deadly weapon. Despite its failure to impress audiences at the time, the film gained cult status, thanks largely to Jane Fonda's star power and its unique, over-the-top visuals. Sure, it was campy and over-sexualized, especially compared to serious sci-fi films like 2001: A Space Odyssey, but that's part of its charm. Over the years, Barbarella has been recognized for its artistic merits, from its bold costume design to Claude Renoir's striking cinematography. It even influenced films like The Fifth Element. Right now, details about the Barbarella remake are still pretty scarce. Sony announced the project back in 2022, but there's no official release date or production schedule just yet. What we do know is that Sweeney is the only confirmed cast member so far, though her involvement alone has already generated plenty of buzz. The script is reportedly being written by Jane Goldman and Honey Ross. Goldman has an impressive track record, having worked on Kick-Ass, the Kingsman movies, and X-Men First Class. Ross, on the other hand, has experience writing for television, most notably Everything I Know About Love. With Sony producing the film, this marks yet another collaboration between the studio and Sweeney, following her recent work on Madame Web and Anyone But You. Casting Sweeney as Barbarella seems like a no-brainer. Both she and the character are considered sex symbols in their own right, but Sweeney also brings serious acting chops to the role. The remake has the potential to be something truly special, especially if Edgar Wright ends up directing. Variety has reported that Wright is in talks to helm the project, and if that happens, we could be in for a visually stunning, high-energy sci-fi adventure. Wright's track record speaks for itself. He's made genre-defining films like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He's also no stranger to adapting comic book material, having worked on Ant-Man and The Adventures of Tintin. Given Barbarella's campy, playful nature, Wright seems like the perfect fit to bring this story to life. If Wright delivers another hit, Sweeney could skyrocket to a whole new level of stardom, much like what happened with Margot Robbie and Barbie. While it might take a while before we see Barbarella on the big screen, fans can still revisit the 1968 film, which is now available to stream on Paramount+. Despite its flaws, the original Barbarella has cemented its place in sci-fi history, and it'll be exciting to see how Sweeney and her team bring a fresh take to this cult classic. With the right cast, crew, and creative vision, this remake could be something truly out of this world. That said, some insiders are saying that Paul Mescal potentially stepping into the role of Pygar in Barbarella. I think if this is the casting move, that makes total sense. The guy's been on fire lately, proving he's got the acting chops to take on just about anything. After breaking out in Normal People, he's been stacking up roles that show off his range. From indie dramas like Aftersun, which got him an Oscar nomination, to showing off his physicality and intensity in Gladiator. If there's anyone who can bring both the charm and emotional depth needed to play the blind, angelic rebel Pygar, it's him. Plus, Pygar isn't just some throwaway sidekick. He's one of the most memorable characters from the original Barbarella. In the 1968 film, he was the last of his kind, and despite being blind, he was still a total heartthrob with his golden wings and heroic moments. Mescal, with his mix of vulnerability and leading man energy, could really make the role stand out in a way that goes beyond just looking good in a toga, though let's be real, he'd pull that off effortlessly. But that's not all. Aside from Sweeney, everyone's also curious about the Great Tyrant. Who's going to take on that iconic role? In the original, Anita Pallenberg played the fierce and seductive ruler of the city of Sogo, dripping with power and villainous charm. Casting her successor is a big deal because the Great Tyrant is one of those classic scene-stealing roles. Some fans are already throwing out dream casting ideas, from someone like Anya Taylor-Joy, who's got the ethereal but menacing presence down, to Jodie Comer, who can go from charming to terrifying in a heartbeat. Just look at Killing Eve. Whoever lands the role will have to balance campy fun with real intensity, making her both a formidable antagonist and a style icon. With Barbarella still in early development, nothing's set in stone yet. But the potential casting is already getting people hyped. If Sweeney, Mescal, and a powerhouse actress for the Great Tyrant all come together under Edgar Wright's direction, this remake could actually turn into something pretty legendary. As for who could play Duran Duran in Barbarella, that's another casting choice that could make or break the film. In the original 1968 movie, Duran Duran, not to be confused with the band that took their name from him, was the scientist behind the deadly positronic ray, a weapon so powerful that it threatened the entire universe. He started off as a missing genius, but turned out to be a full-blown villain, complete with an evil lair and a machine designed to literally kill people with pleasure. So yeah, whoever takes on this role needs to bring the right mix of intelligence, menace, and over-the-top energy. A lot of fans are already speculating about who could embody this eccentric, power-hungry scientist in the remake. Someone like Mark Strong, who's perfected the suave but sinister vibe in movies like Kingsman, could bring some serious gravitas to the role. Or maybe a more unexpected pick like Taika Waititi, who could lean into the campy, flamboyant side of the character while still making him a legit threat. Another strong contender could be Willem Dafoe, because, let's be honest, no one plays unhinged scientist quite like him. He could easily make Duran Duran a more layered and unpredictable villain, the kind who keeps audiences on edge while also delivering some truly wild moments. Then there's the option of going younger with someone like Bill Skarsgård, who's proven he can do creepy. His recent work, like Nosferatu, is a peak example. If the filmmakers want Duran Duran to be less of a traditional mad scientist and more of a tech genius with a chaotic streak, Skarsgård would be a solid pick. Whoever ends up playing him, Duran Duran needs to be just as memorable as Barbarella and the Great Tyrant, if not more. He's the villain who sets everything in motion, and with the right actor, he could steal every scene he's in. With Edgar Wright potentially directing, there's a good chance we'll get a villain who's just as fun as he is dangerous, and honestly, that's exactly what Barbarella needs. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop, and if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.